You know that feeling, that middle of the night alarm clock that isn't a clock, that urgent trip to the bathroom? If you're a man of a certain age, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But what if that's not just a random annoyance?
Does this feel like your new normal? Getting up once, maybe twice a night? A lot of guys just accept it. They think, well, I'm just getting older. But it's time we stopped writing it off like that. Because it's not just an inconvenience. Your body is sending you a very clear message. It's a signal coming directly from your prostate, and it's one you're definitely going to want to listen to.
So what is actually going on to trigger that signal? Let's get right into the nuts and bolts of it. It's actually pretty simple. It all centers on this one small gland, the prostate. It's only about the size of a walnut, and it sits right below your bladder. But here's the key. Look how it wraps around the urethra. That's the tube that urine flows through. That location is everything. See, as we get older, hormonal changes naturally cause the prostate to get bigger. And when it grows, it puts a squeeze on that urethra. The garden hose analogy is perfect. It's like someone is standing on the hose. Not only does it weaken the flow, but it also stops the bladder from emptying all the way.
And we're not talking about some rare condition here. By age 60, half of all men are feeling the effects of an enlarged prostate. It's so incredibly common that most guys just shrug it off, and they ignore that signal from their body until it turns into a much bigger deal.
And it only gets more common from there. Jump ahead just 10 years to age 70, and that number skyrockets to 70%. This is way more than just a bathroom problem. This is about your sleep getting destroyed night after night, and your overall well-being taking a hit.
Okay, so those numbers might sound a little bleak, but here's the most important part. Just because this is common does not mean you're stuck with it. This is not some unavoidable sentence. The science is really clear on this. You have real power to change this. So let's get to what you can actually do. First up, let's talk about something you do every day, drinking water. A tiny little tweak in how you do it can make a world of difference. The old advice was always just drink more water. The new, much smarter way to think about it is timing. The whole idea is to front load your hydration. Get most of your water in before, say, 6 p.m. And here's exactly why that timing matters. When you cut back on fluids in the evening, the urine you produce overnight becomes way more concentrated. And that concentrated fluid literally acts as an irritant. It inflames the lining of your bladder and aggravates your already sensitive prostate, which is what's waking you up. And the results of this one shift are, well, they're huge. Studies have shown that men who just change their hydration timing can cut down on those nighttime bathroom trips by up to 40%. That is the difference between a broken, frustrating night and getting actual deep sleep. All right, let's move on to the second habit. Now, this one is going to sound almost too simple, but it directly attacks the inflammation that causes the prostate to grow in the first place. It really is that straightforward. Finish eating, and then just go for a gentle 15-minute walk. You don't need a gym, you don't need any special equipment, just a short walk. So why on earth does this work? A walk right after a meal is one of the best ways to stop a big blood sugar spike. And when your blood sugar is always spiking, your body is constantly pumping out insulin, which leads to this low-grade chronic inflammation all over your body. It's like a fire that's always smoldering, and the prostate is extremely sensitive to that fire. That inflammation is the very thing that fuels its growth. Okay, this third habit, it might be the most surprising one of them all, but the research that backs it up is about as solid as it gets. What's so amazing here is just how direct the research is. This wasn't some tiny little survey, it was a massive long-term study out of Harvard, and they found a crystal clear relationship. The more often men ejaculated, the lower their risk of prostate cancer. And this chart just puts it in perspective. We're talking about a 1/3 lower risk. That's not a small number. That's a massive statistical difference that's tied to one consistent behavior. The theory behind it makes a lot of sense. It's basically a natural cleansing process. It helps flush out the prostate, clearing out old cells and other substances that, if they just hang around for too long, could cause inflammation or even become cancerous. Now, it's really important we put all of this in the right context. These habits are powerful tools, for sure, but they're just that, tools in your toolbox. They're not the whole workshop. These actions are meant to be done along with, not instead of, your regular doctor visits. Getting professional medical care and regular checkups is just, it's not negotiable. For men, especially as we get over 60, these two tests, the PSA blood test and the DRE, are still the absolute gold standard for catching problems.
And you want to catch things early. When it's early, you have the most options.
So these habits are your foundation. But there's also a simple nightly ritual that's been shown to directly calm down prostate inflammation. We're diving into that one right now.